Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, sharpshooters. My name is Deadshot, host of Warfare Mornings over on Twitch. And today we are back again with another Nova build. This time around, I have found a very interesting synergy between a blast modded Kuva sobek shotgun and putting Xata's Whisper on Nova, because it makes for some very interesting crowd clearing. So without further ado, let's jump into this build, as it's interesting. It's very interesting. Starting out strong, we are going to have corrosive projection in the aura slot, prime sure-footed, of course, to keep ourselves on our feet and prevent all of that inglorious knockdown, which we absolutely hate. Blind rage for that extra ability strength and minus ability efficiency, because we don't care about ability efficiency, not when we have mods like equilibrium. We're going to use primed redirection and arcane aegis to help prevent ourselves from taking too much damage and buff up our shields a little bit. We're going to feature two augment mods on this build, one of them being antimatter absorb, which is an antimatter drop augment, which allows the drop to absorb enemy bullets within 5 meters, increasing its power, similar to how Nova can shoot her own antimatter drop to increase its damage. And we will then be firing those at enemies. It's really good for crowd clearing and utility to help knock down groups of enemies and give yourself some space and some room to breathe. And then we're also going to be using molecular fission, because this is really good for keeping your first active and keeping your overall durability up, because enemies hit by the null stars are primed, and when killed by the null star charges, they will have a 100% chance of restoring 2 charges, so that way you're gaining 1 each time it kills something. We're also going to be using transient fortitude for more ability strength, molt augmented for, you guessed it, more ability strength. And then finally, we're going to finish off that build with some continuity for some ability strength, or some ability duration, pardon me, and primed flow for that energy max, so we can maintain spamming our abilities left and right. Now onto the shotgun build. As I mentioned before, the Kuva sobek. We have a toxin valence on that, for which we will be using primary blight to help increase our critical damage and multi-shot. Overall, it's just a general blast build with as much status chance as I can stuff into the shotgun as possible. And we're also going to be utilizing cleanse mods, because these are worth a lot of damage, as these double dip in damage. So not only does it buff the initial hit of your shot, but it also buffs the status effect when that goes off. This also affects blast, so it'll make the blast explosion deal a little bit more damage when those go off, which we will be aiming to set off those blast explosions as much as possible. As you'll see, we are not modded for base damage. You do not need base damage on this build, because it will kind of defeat the purpose, as you're trying to proc as much blast as possible and let that go off and kill the enemies and chain that way. And that blast can also re-proc Xata's Whisper, which is why we have some very interesting interactions. To make blast, we're going to be using Scattering Inferno and Chilling Reload to increase our reload speed and give us lots of status chance. Scattering Justice, more status chance, and Clip Delegation is going to be more status chance, as we get 15% per shot landed at max 15 stacks. So just hit your shots, which you'll be doing plenty of with Xata's Whisper. And then we got Savvy for more status chance and that direct damage, because that's going to help increase our overall damage output. Amalgam Shotgun Barrage for fire rate and revive speed. This is mainly for co-op. If you're somebody who plays with people quite often, that revive speed is godly. And then Galvanize Hell, so that we have even more stacking multi-shot and more to hit our enemies with. And for our secondary, I'm going to be featuring the Bad Touch that I created using kit gun parts. Kit guns are some of the more powerful weapons in the game. If you can get your hands on them, get your hands on them. They rock. They hit hard. You can get stupid things like 100% critical chance on your secondary. And how we are achieving that is by using Pistol Gambit. I think that's literally the only mod that I have for it. because this doesn't have critical chance on it. So just one mod, you're getting that kind of critical chance, which is kind of wild. Then we're bolstering that critical damage further with Merciless and Target Cracker. Fulmination to increase the blast radius. Jolt to give it the electricity and make it corrosive, because it's the bad touch, it's gotta be corrosive. Amalgam Barrel Diffusion for more multi-shot and dodge speed, because dodge speed is invaluable. Then I have a Riven for it, but you don't need a Riven for yours. You can replace this with another status chance mod, should you prefer the status chances, or you can change this out for a damage mod like Hornet Strike. Then we got Lethal Momentum for more projectile speed, because the projectiles on the Spore Lancer are kind of slow, so we make them go a little bit faster. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh. Pardon me. Oh, and then for our Riven, we're going to be using residual boils on kill. It has a 20% chance to spawn volatile hives for 12 seconds that explode when enemies approach for 80 heat damage in 10 meters. Then standing in the area applies heat damage to Ethereum Arcanes, which we're not using, but I've had a couple of builds in the past that have used those. Maybe I will make a build in the future playing with those, but let's be real, they're not meta in any way, shape, or fashion, so I don't know if anybody's going to be really seeking out those kinds of synergetic builds, but they are definitely available. They are definitely a thing. You can do this with both primaries and secondaries, but we'll do that some other time. And then finally, we're going to finish that off with Cascadia Overcharge for our final secondary arcane, just because I didn't know what else to put here. So we're going to run that extra critical chance, because you can never have too much critical chance. And then finally, for our melee, Xatas, otherwise known as the Praedos, the evolving Tonfas. And we're using this for only 2 of the 5 evolutions. One of them is evolution 2 for Drifting Grace, plus 20% sprint speed, plus 20% slide, and then plus 30% parkour velocity on the 4th evolution, so that we can go super speed. It is a lot of fun. And then our companion of choice is one of the best companions in the game. It's going to be Alucard, the Vaska Kavat. Which will give us the ability to revive ourselves with the transfusion mod. This mod, invaluable. This will allow your cat to revive you if you go down, and it's basically instant. Super useful. This has saved me in things like EDA so many times. It's unreal. I would argue Vaska Kavat's one of the best pets in the game at this point. Plus, you also have Draining Bite, which allows the Vaska Kavat to get its health steal, which is super nice. This allows it to heal itself repetitively, so you can make up for it taking that 20% of its own health as damage when you die. We're also using Synth Fiber, Synth Deconstruct in a combination. Fiber, so we can pick up health orbs regardless. And Deconstruct, so that they have the increased chances to drop those health orbs. Very useful. Sharpened Claws for armor strip. Primed Animal Instinct for loot radar and enemy radar, just so I can see where things are and know where to go. Usually not needed. You can make builds without this mod. It's just a nice utility to have. Resourceful Retriever, another utility. Just a little bit of extra resource gain. You can also replace this with Loyal Retriever or Prosperous Retriever. It's up to you. Tenacious Bond, because we will decrease our recovery timer on our companion. And if our companion's critical chance is over 50%, we gain that 1.2 final critical damage multiplier. This is wonderful because this applies regardless. Applies to all the weapons, applies to primary, secondary, melee. It's great. Then we have Fetch for the pickup range and Enhanced Vitality just to keep it alive. Claws, pretty straightforward. We're going to be utilizing Bite to get our critical chance well over 50% to get that Tenacious Bond 1.2 times final critical damage multiplier. Then we got Precision Conditioning for the slash damage. Frost Jaw, Venom Teeth for viral. Call the Weak for more damage. Radon Claws for critical damage and radiation. Magnetic Claws for magnetic and status duration. And then Swipe to hit 4 additional targets. This also combines and stacks with Rending Flesh. so your Kvet can take out the armor of up to 4 enemies at one time, which is pretty damn useful. But yeah, that sums it up for the build between these two things. Real quick, we're gonna go over the Archon shards that I'm using for Nova. It's a pretty straightforward setup, pretty generic, nothing specific to the build. We've got 2 for casting speed at Tau Forge levels for 75% more casting speed. Lovely, lovely. 1 Tau Forge red for duration, 1 Tau Forge red for strength, and then a Tau Forge purple for even more energy to health and health to energy conversion. This gives us a total of 140% between equilibrium and that purple Tau Forge. So it'd be much more profitable for us to pick up a health orb to get energy than it will be for us to pick up a energy orb for energy. And now, if my stick drift would stop stick drifting, it'd be great. It'd be so great if my stick would stop doing things. Okay, so we're gonna go to Lua. We are gonna go into Steel Path. And we're gonna go into the highest level mission in the star chart. Making sure, well, I mean, it's close enough. But we'll go full solo. That way you guys can see that this will work for every mission below this. Effectively. Right? As long as your mission is levels, I don't know, 700 and lower, I think you'll be fine. This Nova build is incredibly strong and has the capability to take out lots of enemies really quickly. First things first, cast those 2 abilities. Cast our Null Stars, cast our Xata's Whisper.
The Orican Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support.
And yeah, it does some work. Can't forget to make sure that you're casting your force, slow them down, make them take more damage, and then just clear the room. It's honestly ridiculous. And if you want to, you can have some fun, toss out the little orb, as that'll do lots of damage. And the Azure card is down already. But yeah, when the status effective blast detonates, it'll basically just detonate all the enemies in the area, which is pretty insane, and then it just kind of chains. And your goal is to basically kind of let it chain, because that's what's going to get you to clear the rooms, is letting the blast status effect chain over and over again on the enemies. All right, you do just a few shots, they take damage over and over again. Then of course, if you had it equipped, I don't right now. If you have Matarai equipped, you can use Sling Strength and Power Transfer. Sorry, I don't think it's called Sling Strength. It's something else. Sling something. But basically, for Void Slinging, and you transfer back in, you gain ability strength. Or casting speed, one of the two. I cannot remember. And then these Xata's bubbles also kind of help redirect all the projectiles back into wherever it hits. So if I get a headshot, it'll start redirecting all the pellets to the head, which makes it do so much damage. As well as it adds an extra projectile per hit. So per projectile, it'll add another. And when you're using a shotgun, wow, just kind of happens to stack a lot really quickly. So you can proc a lot of blasts really fast. You wait that 1.5 second delay for the status effect to go off, then the enemy and everyone beside him is no more. The other thing that can set it off is if you kill the enemy. So if you get the kill, you will get the blast explosion anyways, and it will still detonate and still chain off the rest of the enemies. Oh, Tomart, you're annoying. Get out of here. Alright, and even without a base damage multiplier, Kuva Sobek still does quite a bit of work. There's a sentience.
Those oculists are scanning for targets. They know you're here. Prepare for sentient fighters.
And just for fun, we're gonna use a little bit of the bad touch. Why not? Sentience. Who heard of them? Like, you don't even need to hit everything. They'll just take damage on their own. Just how insanely strong the shotgun is. And then you combine it with Xata's Whisper, which, by the way, is based off of your weapon status chance. So clip delegation is kind of a need on this build, as it's going to help get you to over 100% status chance, which will help guarantee that you proc a Xata bubble on your enemies.
This would be an
And then
excellent
that
place
will
to
help
deploy.
guarantee that you get that bullet attractor. And once you get that bullet attractor, let's see if we can get the stealth room. See if we can speedrun stealth room. Nice. Speedrun stealth room. But the bright side is that once you have Xata's Whisper active, each time you proc one of those bubbles, you will make sure that you hit more of your shot, or you'll hit more of your shots in your clip, which will help increase the percentage of clip delegation. Mag dump, reload, and then when you do it again, all the bubbles, all the blast, you proc a lot of status effects really quickly. So if you want to try a new build for Nova and you want to experiment with some new things, I would highly recommend experimenting with the Kuva Sobek and Xata's Whisper. Very powerful combination. So please let me know what you guys thought of the build down in the comments below. If you liked the video, please let me know by leaving a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. And I will see you guys in the next build showcase video. Have yourselves a wonderful day.